Assalamu alaikum and welcome you all my dear viewers. This is the first proper lecture which I would like to share with you, in which I will explain the definition of statistics with you. So hope you will learn it. Thank you very much.
Entire definition with you today. What does it mean? The science of data. Science of data means it knows each and everything about the data, right? About the numbers. So basically, we have to understand the data first. What is the data set? Okay, data is, again, you can say the numbers, miss, just the numbers, like can be the decimal numbers, like the whole numbers, right? So it seems there is a big stream of the psychological statistics, you can say, psychological phenomena, psychological things which are not directly measured by the numbers. I think, for example, I can give you the example that the KFC launched a new burger, and I'm interested that do you like its taste or not? Yes, no stance. So I'll ask, do you like? Somebody say yes, miss. Somebody say no. Yes, yes, no, yes. By the end, I'm not able to justify the yes people or the no people. It seems to say I cannot say the people who responded like yes, they are correct, or the people who responded like no, they are correct, because it's a psychological thing. Maybe the burger which they have been launched is more spicy and somebody don't like the spicy things. Got it? So it seems we cannot say these are the psychological things. You say? So we cannot say these people are right and these people are wrong on this. No, they all are right. So it seems case statistics does not deal with this, such kind of phenomena. Yes, statistics deals. This is known as, one is known as the quantitative data, like directly you can see the numbers, right? And one is known as the qualitative data. So the qualitative is like covering all such kind of things, which are possessing some sort of attributes, some sort of, you can say, quality. So this seems कि हमारे पास data की जो दो streams है basically, these known to be the quantitative, quite easy to understand, numbers, and the qualitative. It's having some characteristic. On those characteristic, your qualities, your attributes, we can divide the data set into different categories. Got it? So एक मेन फैक्टर हमारे पास क्या निकला कि एक तो नंबर लाइन पे हमें नंबर नजर आ जाते हैं डायरेक्टली, ओके, वो तो क्वांटिटेटिव हो जाते हैं. तो क्वालिटेटिव कौन से होते हैं? Which we can divide into categories, categorical data. Simple example like gender. Okay, the male and female. How many males I have it? How many female I have it in my class? I can count them directly. I can bifurcate them into two categories. So it's like the on the basis of the gender. So gender is the quality. Got it? So attributic data having certainly some quality in it. Got it? Or the eye colors. Like the same question which I asked. The KFC burger launched. Do you like it or not? Yes, no. So two categories. Or I can say it's on the 5 Likert scale. Maybe I say, do you feel that the price is compatible with the quality? Like that. Do you highly satisfied with that? Satisfied, neutral, dissatisfied, highly dissatisfied. Usually this kind of, you can say Likert scale is usually used in the psychological phenomena. Got it? So these are the categorical things. Mostly the attributic or qualitative data is easily categorized. So usually people said the categorical data jo hota hai, this is known as the qualitative data, right? And on the other hand, now one thing you can say, the quantitative mein hamare paas we can see sometime the decimal numbers data like the length, the height, the width, the marks, the age, temperature, or sometime we find the whole number data set, number of students, number of petals, number of trees, number of finished building in FCC, number of chairs, number of rooms. For example, I have 10 students in person present. If somebody came, I can say 11th one. I cannot report 10.5. So it cannot be in the decimal, but it is, you can easily define on the number line. That's it. So quantitative, again having two streams. Quantitative again having two types. One is discrete and one is continuous. The discrete is having the jumps, like I give it the example, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, or 10 to 9, like that. Move with the jumps. But the decimals ones, like which have each in every value within the given interval. Between 9 to 10, there are infinite numbers. If I'm interested in this Rustam's length, so the guesswork can be 4 feet, 1 inch, 4 feet, 0.05, 4, like that. This is the guesswork, fine? But it's in the decimal, correct? When we will measure it, certainly there are some decimal points counts, or the length or height or width of this room, fine? It's on the continuous scale. So if a numerical value seems to be in the decimal points, you can say fractional ones, it's known to be the continuity stance. And if you have it, the jumps, then it's known to be the discrete stance. So what I defined with you the data. Data having the two main streams. One is the quantitative, one is the qualitative or categorical. Quantitative having the two more streams like the discrete and continuous, and the qualitative is the categorical basically. It's not having the streams. It can be different. We can measure it on different scales. That scales are known to be the nominal and ordinal scale. We will discuss further in detail. But that was about the data. Okay, science of data. Statistics knows each and everything. You got it? Now, the next is it collects. If we have an idea, for example, I want the marks of the students. Okay, I want कि जी last semester में कितने marks है आपके for a particular subject. ठीक है? So I'll ask from you. I collect the data from my respondents, my students. These are technically there is one more term known to be the experimental unit. Kindly do write, all of you, please. It's not over here. All of you, please do write the experimental unit. These things are very important and very pretty. So what is the experimental unit? Means to whom I gathered the information, to whom I required my information. Like I said, I'm interested into the marks of the students. So I will collect the data from my students, but I'm not interested in that students. Okay, I'm interested in his or her marks. My variable of interest is the marks, and my respondent, and technically known as the experimental unit, is my student. So do write 2-3 example. Number one, the marks of the students. Number two, the length of the tree. The height, sorry, the height of the tree. Further afterwards. The height of the trees, right? The width of the rostrum, etc. In the first step, the width of the rostrum, this is the rostrum dice, fine, width, yes. So in the first step, what you people have written, that the marks of the students, okay? So in this case, the marks are my variable of interest, and the student, the respondent, is my experimental unit. So please underline these two things. Marks के ऊपर लिखिए variable of interest. What is the category? Is that we are not interested in that yet. And respondent क्या है? Students को underline करके लिखिए. This is the experimental unit. students are experimental unit, and the marks are variable of interest. Exactly. Now, the second statement was, please, the height of the trees, right? Who will let me know? Certainly the tree. I'll measure the tree, fine? So in that case, the tree is my respondent. The tree is my experimental unit. And interested variable is the height. So underline the height and say this is the variable of interest. Underline the trees and note it down. It's as an experimental unit. And for third, you have to do by yourself. Quickly, please. Exactly. The width is the variable of interest, and the experimental unit is the rostrum or the dice. So certainly in that manner, I will collect my data from my respondent or the experimental unit. And then it will be pretty clear to me beforehand, I'm collecting the categorical data or I'm collecting the quantitative data. Is it a discrete one or it's a continuous one? So it will be certainly clear to me. Got it? Then I need to organize it. Organization means if I have it 50 observation, or let's say 30 observation even. If it's not arrayed ka matlab, in increasing or decreasing order, we need to array the data set. This is the first organization step, that we have the data set, like I have the marks of the 30 students, fine. Certainly I want to do something with that. मुझे कुछ करना है ना, इसलिए I'm collecting. मुझे कोई research develop करनी है उसकी base पे. So I need to array. Array का मतलब होता है उसे arrange करें increasing order में या decreasing order में, maximum to minimum or minimum to maximum. This is the first step in the organization. And the pretty good is that you can make its frequency distribution, which we will certainly learn afterwards. And then you can draw its graph on the basis of the data set. We can draw its graph, or we can make its frequency distribution and can report the thing very quickly on the basis of the graphs or on the basis of the frequency distribution. Got it? So this is meant for organization. We need to organize our data set in order to get the quick responses, right? Then we need to summarize it. That was the organization. ठीक, array करना या उसका display लेना या उसकी frequency distribution made कर लेना. That was the organization. Summarization means, for example, I want to resume. Now, summarization means, for example, I would like to report my entire data set, even the 30 observation I have it, the entire data set I have it, by a single numerical value. For example, the mean of my data set, the arithmetic mean, which has to be lying in the center of the data set. See? It can be the median, it can be the mode, it can be geometric mean amount, blah, 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 so many things, which are representing the center of the data according to the nature of the data. It will vary. That can be the quantiles, then dispersion, and so many other things. What does it report? For example, we are interested in the marks, and I give you the test. This is the first day, and I would like to assess what is the prior knowledge of the student about statistics. I say calculate its mean. You will calculate it, and the result which you got it, it's got, for example, 8 out of 10. Got it? So the number 8 is pretty good out of 10. On the average, the result shows me 8 out of 10. So 8 is a very good number out of 10, obviously. So on the basis of that one number, I can interpret this is a good class. If the result shows 6, 5.5 out of 10, then I can report this is the average class. That single numerical value is representing you all, correct? And if the result shows 1.5 to 0.5, so I can interpret it's a poor class. It will give me a tough time. That's it. So these are the summarization on which we need to represent the entire bulk of the observations, like the averages, like the dispersions, and so many other things, right? And on the basis of that numerical justification, we need to define our data set. That is the interpretation, okay? So interpretation or analysis is always based on your summarization, correct? So this is the entire, you can say, definition of statistics.
Thank you very much for watching my video. Please, if you like it, subscribe it as well. Thank you.